Now will we see the magic?
All right, where's Murray? Okay, who is it?
This is Jesus, kid.
Know then that it is the year 10,191.
Yes, we are bored. We're all bored now.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
Hello and welcome to Mary vs. the Movies with your host Mary Jones.
And Dennis Lange.
And this week, do you know who Bob Fosse is?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, you don't strike me as a guy who follows musicals.
I know who Bob Fosse is.
Who is he?
He's the guy that does all the leg dancing and stuff, and all
the leg dancing. Yeah. Dennis, I want to know what's the dancing without legs? Does it take place in the metaverse?
It does.
How does that?
It did when the metaverse existed. But he does those big choreographed crazy.
Sure. Can you think of anything that he either worked on or?
I think All That Jazz.
If you weren't married to me, I don't know if we'd be doing this.
I feel like he did stuff in the 30s though, right?
No, you're thinking of Busby Berkeley.
Oh. Yeah.
Dennis, they're not the same guy.
There's a lot of B's involved.
What?
Busby Berkeley, Bob Fosse.
It is not Bob Fosse. Oh my God.
Close enough.
Jesus Christ. No. Okay. Bob Fosse was a choreographer.
Yep.
Famous one.
Yeah.
Worked in film.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He also directed. Do you know any of the films that he directed?
All That Jazz?
God damn it.
No, I don't know any of
Look, obviously we're going to watch All That Jazz.
Oh, that's cool. That's the one I know.
Mm-hmm. He directed one of my favorite movies. Do you know?
Oh, Liza Minnelli?
Yeah.
The Liza Minnelli movie.
The Liza Minnelli. Yeah, Cabaret.
Cabaret.
Cabaret. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Yes. He directed Cabaret.
Yeah.
Great film. Love that movie.
Yeah.
Watched it many times.
Mm-hmm.
He also directed, let's see. He directed a movie called Star 80, which is a very uncomfortable film to watch.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, we can't do it for a thing?
No, we can't.
I haven't seen it.
And that's fine because it's a rough movie. Do you know what Star 80 is?
I just know that the actress won Best Actress.
Yeah, it's about a woman who was murdered.
Oh, jeez.
And yeah, no, it's a rough.
Oh, wait. And she was
in Playboy.
Yeah, but we know about her from something else.
Yeah. Probably.
Oh, you know what? I know what I'm thinking of.
What are you thinking of?
She was dating Peter, the director, Bogdanovich.
Oh, yes.
That's how we know her.
Actually, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you're saying this, actually, yeah, you're kind of jogging my memory. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. And that came up in that episode of You Must Remember This.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bob Fosse, famous director, choreographer, and he did, he did Sweet Charity in '69. That was the first film he directed, but he did a lot of other choreography for other films. I'm trying to think of some other stuff you might know. Yeah, I think he was maybe the original choreographer and maybe stage director for Chicago, I think. But he obviously was not the one who made the film Chicago from 2000, because he was dead by then. Anyway, so he has a film called All That Jazz, and I've never seen it, but they're showing it at a local theater, and I thought, that's perfect. Let's go watch that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a whole lot to say, but I know a little bit about this movie. I know that it's autobiographical, and it's a more or less Fosse kind of looking back on his own career and all of the kind of blood, sweat, and tears he put into art. And it stars Roy Scheider. And
that's the exciting thing for me.
No, genuinely, that is one of the most exciting things about this. I can't wait to see Roy Scheider playing a song and dance guy.
Yeah.
I've seen him in Jaws many times. I've seen him in The French Connection. I liked 2010, the year we made contact. That's a great movie. He's great in it. Like I like him in other things. I didn't necessarily like that weird anti-abortion movie with Kirk Cameron, but
Oh, is he?
Oh, remember? Listen to Me. We watched that with Alana. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's a look. Go back and listen to the episode. I mean, I think that was a good conversation. And it's not like he's terrible in that movie. It's a movie, whatever. It's a job.
He did a movie called, I think, Blue Max. That's,
yes, that sounds familiar.
A helicopter movie from the golden age of helicopter entertainment.
What is that? Are we talking like what the age of Airwolf?
Exactly the very same.
Oh God.
It's like, because like 80s was all about vehicles.
Yes.
Because it was like kind of taking the two dudes with a vehicle, genre from the 70s, and it's like, we're gonna pump that up
into so many different types of vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to say, except that I know that this is about Bob Fosse. I know it's about basically pushing yourself to your artistic limits and your emotional limits, and I don't know, maybe being a kind of a terrible person to be around, but hey, at least the art is good.
It's all worth it, man.
Why not? Hey, man, you're able to put up with me. This is not art. This is not art. This is a podcast. But go, so anyway, yeah, I'm kind of excited.
It's art-ish.
So we're watching this.
We're like a sucker fish on the giant shark of art.
God, yes, that's right. That's exactly what we are.
That's exactly what we are.
All right. So we've been lucky enough that I was able to get in touch with Julie Klausner, the comedian and writer and the podcast host and a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about what, as far as I know, is like one of her favorite films. Mm-hmm. And I am very excited about this. Look. We'll get into it when we come back from watching the film, but this is very exciting for us that we were able to get her on. All right, so sometimes we do our like little what do we think is going to happen in this movie?
Well, do you think there's an angry dad? Like, do you think his dad is angry at this career choice of his?
Sure, why not? Or maybe he's the angry dad towards all the other dancers.
Yeah.
That could also be it.
I
yeah,
can see that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think there's a love triangle.
Sure.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah, something like that. Why not?
Maybe he's in love with one of the dancers, and she falls in love with
somebody else, or he's like got a partner that he's like sleeping around. Who knows? I don't know. Something like that. Yeah.
Dog. There's a
dog.
No
dogs.
It's set in New York City, right?
You don't put a dog on stage. That's asking for trouble. Never.
It depends on the dog.
No, it doesn't. I'm telling you, every time you saw a production of Annie, that was a guy in a suit.
What happens is like in that Touch of Grey video, the Grateful Dead.
The dog runs off with the skeleton?
Leg. Yeah. That's what happens.
So.
A cool car. Probably not.
Again.
Because it is in New York City, right? I'm assuming.
I assume. I don't know.
Yeah, they don't bother with cars in New York City.
No, that's just taxis.
I think there's a death.
Yeah. Sure. Maybe this ends with like the Bob Fosse stand-in dying. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that being a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. This was not Fosse's last film. That would be Star 80. But, I think he knew he was going to run out of road pretty soon. That's my impression anyway.
You're going to miss me when you're gone.
You're going to miss me when you're gone.
Sorry. I don't realize what I'm saying sometimes.
That's all right.
Sorry.
All right. I don't have a whole lot more to say about this movie. We're going to go and actually watch it in a theater with other people, which is very exciting for me. I love when that happens. So, all right. Are you ready to go watch this movie?
Sure.
Excellent.
He's gonna die. I think he's gonna die. I think I'm gonna
right. Uh, I'm sorry. It's showtime.
Hands out.
I know. I gotta put the hands
Of
up, but
course.
uh, Julie, thank you so much for coming on the show. This is so exciting for us. Um,
Oh, I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much for asking.
well, I had to do it because I remember, I mean, first of all, we are fans. We listen to Double Threat and How Was Your Week and everything. And
Oh, thank
um,
you.
I'm actually like, I'm a big Schmigadoon fan. So
Hmm.
it's funny when I first saw Schmigadoon, I was like, oh, I don't know if I know musicals well enough that like, is this show gonna kind of go over my head? And then as I went through the first season, I went, oh no, I grew up on all this stuff. What am I worried about?
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you know pop culture, then the musicals that are part of it, especially like that first season, because that was really mainstream, right? Like that was what
Yeah.
people did for entertainment. It was all just part of the the like American cultural conversation. So yeah, I think a little bit later as we go, and there's Easter eggs obviously for the true heads, but I'm glad that it rang your bell, I guess.
Yeah, and then that second season, it was all about, what they call like the dark musicals of the 70s, and that's
Yeah.
all Fosse is in there.
For
You
the
know?
so that's like Fosse, Sondheim, like the
Hmm.
people that just completely turned the genre on its head after it had been pretty much, founded by Rodgers and Hammerstein. It was a matter of like, okay, now we know what the rules are. Let's play with them and let's have some fun. And yeah, there was darkness because the idea that you could use that language to explore darkness wasn't new. You look at Carousel, I mean, geez.
Hmm.
But at the same time, to be able to subvert it after it had been established is, just like new cinema. And it was pretty fast after. It was like right on the heels of the golden age, just because they had come up in that era. I mean, Sondheim wrote for West Side Story, and
Hmm.
Fosse was studying with, folks that were doing things that you wouldn't necessarily think of as cool in that 70s way that he really established later.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's funny that I never got around to watching the movie we're going to talk about, All That Jazz,
Wow.
because I know, which, I mean, kind of the shtick of this show is, it's all stuff that like I didn't watch and I don't even know why I never got around to it.
Hmm.
So, um,
Well, right now this movie's having a moment in the letterboxed world where it seems like there was a period where it seemed mandatory for everyone to put it on their top four in a way that made me a little confused because growing up I thought, yeah, it's a great film, but it always kind of seemed like cult new cinema to me because
mhm.
Fosse was never really admitted into the Mount Rushmore of, whatever it is, like Coppola, De Palma, Scorsese, like whatever, Cassavetes, I don't know, but he was always kind of looked as, maybe it was because of, the theater or the queerness of the things that he did or its appeal at least, but to see the reverence towards this film in particular has really been interesting. Like it's kind of broken through in like film worlds that I just think is like, oh wow, it's getting its flowers, I guess.
And I think that's interesting, like because it takes me like Cabaret, and Cabaret is extremely well. I mean, it was up for Best Picture.
Hmm.
I guess All That Jazz was that also up for?
It
I think
won
so.
Yeah,
a bunch of awards, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, otherwise it's not something that like I don't remember playing on cable a lot when I was younger,
No, no, exactly. Like it wasn't a mainstream movie. It wasn't received in the way that and also because it's not quite a musical, but people put it in that category. It's definitely more of a biopic about someone who did musicals and uses musical, like it's not a musical. It
Yeah.
definitely uses the language of musicals to tell its story. But yeah, no, growing up I always felt like it was a cult film, and now it seems like it's definitely graduated into the mainstream of like the top tier of the Criterion closet or something.
Yeah, definitely.
I think part of it is that I think Roy Scheider has been kind of reevaluated.
Mm,
He was always kind of like this other guy. He just did tough guy films and stuff.
yeah.
And I think people kind of, especially like with Jaws, I think Jaws has kind of grown, and his role in Jaws is like he's a great actor. And then
you see this movie, you're like, whoa, he could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
he's incredible. He's so good.
I'm actually like so because you're right. I mean, like I've seen The French Connection. I've watched
Hmm.
Jaws. I don't know how many times.
Sure.
So I wouldn't think of casting Roy Scheider, doing this type of character, right? Or doing like dancing at all. Like he doesn't really dance in this, obviously, but um,
But remember who's doing the casting. I mean, if you were gonna choose somebody to play you, wouldn't like if it were me, I'd just be like, "What's Jessica Chastain up to?" You know? And people will be like, "Yeah, I never really pictured her, podcasting or whatever." But it's like, I did. I have. I know who I want to play me, and she's really pretty. So Roy Scheider is definitely an idealization from the man who has always been, as any auteur is, obsessed with telling his own story, especially about his most treasured and most fascinating subject, which is himself. So it's definitely an aspirational casting job, but at the same time, I think it's always interesting to see how a filmmaker sort of sees himself, whether it's aspirational or not. So yeah, it makes sense to me. And I'm also just like, no, that's Joe Gideon.
yeah, yeah.
That's not Fosse, that's Joe Gideon. Fosse himself at this point, yeah, not nearly as good looking or, or charming or any of that, but they were both sexually promiscuous. Let it be known. They both had a high body count, as the kids say. So.
Well, I mean, there's just something about being charismatic. I mean,
Yeah.
Which is interesting that, originally he wanted Richard Dreyfuss, and I can't picture that.
It's a real 180. I mean,
Yeah.
what was the third choice? The shark? What did he want?
Dennis was like, what about Robert Shaw? Well,
I know.
see what he can do here.
What's Shaw up to? Boy.
Well, I think Paul Newman was the first choice, of course.
Oh my God.
I mean-
Bobby. I mean, you know what Fosse looked like at this era, right? You've seen photos. There was photography. Like, we do know what he looked like.
Yeah, there's aspirational, then there's delusional.
Paul Newman, really? Wow. Give me a break. Who's hustling who? Who's the real hustler?
Scheider is amazing in this, and I love the opening of this film.
On Broadway.
On Broadway, and finding out that he had an earpiece in his ear the whole time, so that Fosse was kind of telling him how to, essentially act as if he's casting the show, and like it feels so natural. I mean, it's shot in this very documentary style.
Yeah, you're right. It does look like a Frederick Weissman film or something.
Right, and so you don't think about. Like I actually, well, I don't know about anyone else, but like as I'm watching this, I kind of forget for a second, like, yeah, he's an actor. This is, I kind of forget that it's Roy Scheider, and I'm because of the way it's shot, it looks so good and realistic. It's really impressive when you actually step back and think about what you're watching.
Yeah, I mean, him and his ear is so. Yeah, it's like very Schenectady, New York coded, honestly. You're like, when are we getting the second set? When are we swapping out, wives for actresses who are playing the wives? I mean, Anne Reinking plays herself, which is crazy. It's a psychologically bold, I would say, action to cast your mistress / girlfriend, whatever the, parlance of our times is, as we gave her a different name. What's her name? Kate.
Yeah, Kate Jagger.
Yeah, Kate Jagger. Oh, what a great name, Gideon and Jagger. But yeah, there's a lot going on. Like, you could definitely approach this from a psychoanalysis perspective, like from a feminist perspective, from a just purely cinematic. But yeah, there's definitely a lot going on.
Oh yeah, and you say with the casting, I was watching a thing today about how there are a lot of the background players in this are people that he worked with in theater in other capacities, or also edited other films and stuff. And I mean, even the casting Cliff Gorman to play the guy who's playing essentially Lenny Bruce, when it was Dustin Hoffman in the film, but he was the one who originated on in the stage show. And so you have, like, again, it's that sort of it's a metatextual to end all
Yeah.
metatextuals, you know.
Yeah, completely. And the just flirting with authenticity and having the opportunity to write and direct your own death is such a great fantasy to be able to see through. Who among us like wouldn't want the chance to, choreograph our farewell ceremony and then make sure that we get like an appropriate denouement. Like there's just so much that this is about, like controlling the uncontrollable and making life art, because life is a mess and art is something that he can control seemingly. But yeah, no, that Lenny footage is really 1-to-1. I mean, there's no like, what if he was a singer? It's like, nope, we all know what this is.
Yeah, which is so interesting because instead of then doing the same thing with Chicago, they kind of create this whole other fake show
Yeah.
that he's directing at the same time. So it's I just find it interesting that instead of doing a fake movie, they're essentially just doing the movie Lenny in there.
They're
So
doing Lenny. Yeah. Well, Chicago is also better than the show that they're rehearsing in it.
yeah.
Come Fly With Us is yikes. Like, so that when he does go into the hospital and they're like, we're gonna postpone the show, I think there's parts like, okay, that's maybe for the best. But but yeah, I also, you never know with rights and like Candor and Ebb, and like you don't want to mess around with licensing those songs. So yeah, that could be practical. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it's interesting as sort of it's also poking fun at a type of musical, right? You
Sure.
know, much in this kind of the same way that the way this film opens, it's obviously also referencing back to movies like 42nd Street. The show must go on. Even like the centering on like the director who's kind of losing it. Again, that's also echoing 42nd Street. And so like having the musical that they're working on being that kind of uh like terrible sort of like, oh, she's a young ingenue who's just gonna make it after all type thing. And
Oh,
it's like,
Victoria? You mean
yeah,
Victoria?
yeah.
Yeah, no, completely. Like it's definitely got that cattle call. You're right. It does. That tradition does go back to 42nd Street, even like in how it's shot. Like cattle calls are cattle calls. There's also a chorus line, and a chorus line was on Broadway in I believe like 75, but like that's kind of the most iconic cattle call. Yeah, the way he breaks it to people under the music in that montage, I really love, because you could see how charming he is when he's rejecting people and like casually disposing of their dreams. He has like a kindness and a charm to them. There's that moment with the twins where he's like he's just enjoying them. But yeah, Victoria is singled out, but isn't that kind of like organic to just the fact that like when you go into a room and you see someone whose beauty is like boy yoing, like they're gonna the camera's gonna focus on them, your iris is gonna like close in on them, and yeah, she can't dance, but with those legs, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing this film does really well is it's trying to kind of get at why there's sort of something, like how charisma and there's something almost magical about working in the arts that
Yep.
it's very hard to keep your head and be normal.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's not even an industry that allows it. This is not a world where you have the same coworkers and you go into an office 9 to 5 every day. Like I think, yeah, but that's probably true if you like say work in the writer's room on a TV show. But if you're doing like the live arts, performing arts, or you're on screen or whatever, it's a very different world.
Are they even now? Because here's my question. Aren't there areas of commerce and I'm thinking like specifically of like tech, where people say, well, he's a genius, therefore he's allowed to get away with everything, or like there's certain cults of personality that go beyond the creative world, where you have different rules for people that just kind of tell you they're exceptional, and in often cases like prove it. Like it's not like Steve Jobs didn't have, like the proof was in the pudding with that guy. But I do think of the process that goes into making art as traditionally defined as, kind of romantic, or even like, you just get like an inspiration from God and everything comes together. Like, I think this movie is pretty, I don't know, like, it was one of the first things that was a bit unflinching about the egos and whether or not he was, I mean, of course they weren't familiar with the term privilege, but like the idea that like when you're, when you've got like special talents, you're allowed special rules to, hurt people around you, or just like not just keeping crazy hours, but just just not treating people professionally. And I do wonder how much that's changed, or how much we just don't acknowledge it as much. But I am curious as to like how much of that is exclusive to the creative world.
Oh, I'm sure it's not. I mean, as you said, when you think about people who are like famous, industrialists or whatever, I mean,
or like CEOs, or like
Yeah.
other. I'm trying to think of like other. First of all, where are the jobs right now? I'm like having a hard time being like, oh, like you could be like a this or a that, and I'm like, what the hell are the jobs? But like even like medicine, right? There's such an obvious hierarchy of like, even like the radiologist isn't allowed to tell you what's on the thing. They're like, you're not talking to the doctor. And it's just everyone kind of knows their place. I think in like show business is one of the, and there's another movie I think that really, really shows the status, like how aware everybody is of the status when they're in showbiz, which is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I feel like that is an absolute Valentine to people knowing where their place is.
Yeah.
Just like how Brad Pitt is like Leonardo DiCaprio's assistant, and just like, boy, does he know it, even though they're friends. It's like, we know who the star is. So yeah, I think it's, I'm always just curious about that, like the one-to-one, or like what's unique about the people who are in the arts, and like what's the difference between being called a creative genius versus like, financial genius, or what are the like, does machismo or toxic masculinity, as you call it today, like have different flavors, or is it all the same old shit?
I mean, to some extent, I think it is kind of all the same. It's just different.
I can get away with more because because I'm allowed to have more wives because God speaks directly to me.
Yeah, exactly.
But also maybe it's a capitalism thing, like since as capitalism kind of expanded and became the monster that it currently is, like it just has I think it's just exacerbated this kind of behavior.
Yeah, because it's all about hierarchies.
Yeah.
Like that's just another form of hierarchy.
Like before, only kings could do this kind of thing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So isn't that wonderful that we have this beautiful competitive system where anyone can be an asshole if they are enough of an asshole?
Yeah.
See, if you work really hard, one day you too can grow up to abuse
work really
people.
hard and are an asshole. One day you can be an asshole with fewer consequences.
But what I like about this film is it's all about consequences, even though like it is sort of unapologetic about how he's lived. Like the main consequence is death. I mean, this is all sort of like, yeah, I know this is all wrong and everything I'm doing here is wrong. And yeah, I'm making great art, but it's destroying me. But at least I'm acknowledging that I know where this ends up. I know where this is all going.
He wanted
it's
to
a body
die.
bag.
He wanted to die. It was very romantic for him to die young. I mean, I think one of the ironies of Fosse's life was that he didn't die after this movie. He went on to make Star 80, which is his worst movie, in my opinion. I kind of, there's things about it that are interesting, but for the most part, I think it's like a really ugly, sordid, trashy film. And after he made that, he, kind of unceremoniously had a heart attack in, I believe, 83 when they were doing a Sweet Charity revival in DC. So it's not like he went out doing like all that jazz is a masterpiece, right?
Yeah.
Chicago, I mean, Cabaret is a masterpiece. Pippin, what he did for Pippin. His other films are incredible too. Like I love Fosse as a filmmaker. Star 80 to me is like the only blemish on his record. But the idea that he really did glamorize death in the way that like some rock stars or young people are like, oh yeah, it's gonna go down like this, and then it didn't. It went down differently. I mean, he knew he was gonna die younger than like most people, but he he didn't get final cut, right? Like that wasn't his jurisdiction.
It's funny you bring up Star 80. I was sort of involved with a guy in college who loved that movie.
Oh
and
no, that red flag made it out of red flags. Oh boy.
It's a red flag that would have flown over the Kremlin. It is the biggest of red flags. I look back now and I'm just like, oh girl, what were you doing?
No, bad news bears.
Yeah.
Like Eric Roberts as and then he gets this glamorized treatment and he's just this horrible incel and he glamorizes abuse the way that in this he glamorizes genius and glamour, which is like, and he knows about it, and that the article it's based on, the whole thing is just such a bummer. That movie really breaks my heart. It's just something where someone who has such, to me it's like Fosse in like technique only.
So one thing I love about this film, though, is the way that it emphasizes editing.
Yes. Yes. No one could cut like Bobby. Maybe like Russ Meyer is like the only person who could edit the way Bob Fosse. Like, if you've ever seen Sweet Charity, that thing is like a masterclass in like creative editing. But this is cut like he's got a lot of tools in the box now that he can like pick and choose from. So it's maximum effectiveness.
It's not just the way it's edited is brilliant, and the way it jumps back in time, and it's nonlinear, but also it actually shows like the sitting around and working on editing, and it's partially about editing and how important it is as an art form in and of itself.
I love that. That's such a good point. I never thought of that.
Yeah, it's amazing what this film is, as much about the importance of how you present something and how you edit things as it is about, essentially he's editing his life on screen, both as a film, but also just the way that he's showing how editing works.
Absolutely. He's sort of showing you how you can manipulate someone while he's manipulating you.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like there's so many layers in this movie that what he is saying about art, what he's saying about his own life, and just about, how movies work.
He also says when he's talking to the Jessica Lange character, who represents, depending on what your point of view is, death or addiction or some kind of like God figure. When she says to him, what does she say? Art or something? And he says, that's all there is. It's not true, but it's what this character believes. And I think that this movie kind of like shows you that I think Fosse believes it too, but it's interesting to have like awareness without any shame, like, or any kind of regret. He is, like reasonably self-aware to a point, but then also kind of like doesn't have like accountability, because it can't be the only thing. If there are people around you who love you, like when he does that lap in the finale and his daughter's crying, that's the part I cry at every time I see this movie, because she hugs him and she doesn't want to let him go, and he's leaving his daughter, and she doesn't deserve that. But when he's making that lap, I mean, those are people in the audiences, right? Those aren't shows. Those aren't movies. Those are people that were maybe part of, those things that you were making, but they are ultimately people that love you and were part of who you are, even if that person is someone who can't really be present for people that they do love, and express it by making things with them or about them.
That final sequence is amazing, and it is heartbreaking.
So heartbreaking, beautiful.
Everything.
Bye life is just the ultimate.
We went and saw it in the theater, and I went home and I immediately pulled it up on YouTube. I'm like, I have to watch that again.
That's so great.
I was
It's great you saw it in the theater too. I mean, the hard cut from that to a body bag is also like,
Yeah.
it's so tricky, right? Because you're like, wow, Fosse's so honest, but you're like, come on, like he showed you, he's a magician showing you where he's palming the card.
Yes. Oh, that's a really great way to think about it. He's a vaudeville magician.
Yeah.
You know,
It's where he started out.
Yeah.
I mean, back in vaudeville.
And the fact that like it doesn't actually end with that final bye life. It actually ends with there's no business like show business, Ethel Merman. It's sort of like
after they zip
kinda...
up his goddamn body bag, like with no that sound design is like incredible.
God.
After that beautiful shot of him like floating towards Jessica Lange, who's lit like under cheesecloth and then soft lights of wattage unheard of, and it's so beautiful and ethereal and elevated, and then there's that hard cut and it's just brilliant.
Yeah, it's editing. It's
yeah,
amazingly done. One thing I wanted to bring up actually, we have this whole second, like this show within a show that he has to, and he come up with these this new dance sequence on the fly, and it's that "Come Fly with Us" scene.
Yes.
And and I do like how it keeps, that it takes up a fair chunk of the film of him trying to figure out what am I doing with this scene, and it gets into kind of the process of trying to choreograph a scene and figure out like what in the world are the dance moves to this.
Yeah.
It's and like how difficult that can be and how you have to come up with this stuff from scratch.
By the way, he died in 87. I just want to get that clear, because I think I said 83, but like that was like almost a decade after this film came out. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like saying your goodbyes at a party and then being stuck in the rain and having to come back, like kind of like crawl back and be like, hey guys, anyway, just wanted to mention that, but sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. But you're right. Exactly. It's like, I'm going to go out on top and then I'm still here. Wait a minute.
Yeah. It's so awkward. It's so awkward. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No. But so what I like about this, we do finally then get, the dance sequence, the scene,
Yes.
And it's great. And, and I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, that's, this feels like something I've seen before. And then it transitions into the erotica.
Cold-hearted snake.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going. Like, I'm watching this, I went, oh my God, is that where that comes from?
Yes. Yeah. Listen, when I first saw that, Jazz, I thought the same thing. I was born in 78. I have the same Paula Abdul before Bob Fosse experience. You're in a safe space, and yes,
I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
No, you're in a safe space, and also as a dancer choreographer, which is, that's Paula Abdul's background. Of course, she idolized Fosse. Like everyone who was, was a choreographer, especially coming of age in the 80s. Are you kidding? Of course, she was going to do an homage to that.
Yeah, and the other thing
that was your first record, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually, it was.
Forever Your Girl. Great record.
Yeah,
great record.
Love it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's so funny watching this and then seeing like, oh, that's where that comes from.
Yes.
The same thing with like, I guess it was like on like Better Call Saul. They kept doing the it's Showtime thing in this one episode. They kind of get into like.
Also, if you've seen Marie Antoinette, she has the chutzpah to use the same track every day that she gets ready. Like she couldn't have used a different anyway.
Yeah, that's it's a little on the nose.
It's very on the nose, and I like it. I'm not like criticizing it as being like bad, but it's just it is interesting when you first see this movie and you're like, oh, that's where that comes from. That's where that comes from.
Yeah.
I was speaking of Paula Abdul. So I saw while looking this up, I saw this video on TikTok about how Michael Jackson took a lot of his moves from the the Little Prince dance.
Yes, the snake. Yeah.
From the outfit, the black with the white t-shirt.
Derby.
Yeah, the derby, not everything. Yeah.
No, there's a lot of Michael Jackson that's sort of planted all over Fosse's, look and choreography.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I hadn't even really thought about until you had mentioned it to me.
There was also the Beyonce Single Ladies dance that was tied to is it Mexican Breakfast that Gwen Verdon did on I forget what show. I don't know how copyright works with dance. I really don't.
That's a really good question, actually. Yeah. I don't know how you would copyright movement, but at the same time you
writing,
it is Well, it is exactly. It's like, you know how, when they do the Nutcracker and it's always George
Mhm.
Balanchine's Nutcracker because he had to come
Mhm.
up with the choreography and everything. And it's like, do they, when they perform, dance
If it's like a
pieces?
certain amount of difference or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
actually a really good question.
By the way,
Um,
that movie, Little Prince, has moments. The best part of it is Gene Wilder.
Oh yeah.
But Fosse looks rough in that. Like he's outside, you're worried about him. You're like, is this too hot? Like
that's a weird movie.
Yeah.
it's
That's,
totally weird.
yeah.
He's also like all in black, and you're just like, oh, like, can we get a fan on him or something?
I don't know how much of that movie really works, but except yeah, the Gene Wilder stuff actually.
Yeah,
But
he's a
it's Gene
yeah.
Wilder. I
I
mean,
know we could watch him forever.
yeah.
I wonder if Bono ever did that, dressed all in black in the desert.
Is
By
this
mistake or on
No, no.
stage
I don't know.
for
Are you
Joshua
referring
Tree?
are you
Yeah,
referencing
I
something
could
for
just,
real or
yeah, I could just see him just suddenly.
Bono's never really a dancer though. He was
no?
Yeah.
kind of like someone who had his own way of moving while he was on the mic.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's there aren't a whole lot of like dancing like that just doesn't really come into rock music, which is kind of a shame because, there's a reason why everybody did kind of like focus on Michael Jackson. The dancing is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's
the
definitely more
thing
of a
is,
pop star
yeah,
thing.
Mhm.
yeah, and I think like people do want to see that though
Yeah.
in their pop
Oh
music
yeah,
they're-
absolutely.
yeah. Um, but I don't know. It's just interesting to me that like that's just not something that
I remember I was at a Yola Tango show and they had a dance number
Really?
not
with Ira and
and James McNeil.
yeah.
Yeah. What were
Really?
they doing?
Like Georgia was playing like a drum machine and she's like, here's the dance number, and the two the two of them were attempting to do some briefly choreographed.
What?
How did that go?
Oh, it was just fun. They were just goofing off.
Okay.
Okay. Understood.
It was not a hidden talent.
Right, right. It wasn't, it was a very special Hanukkah.
Yeah.
How did you first come to like kind of see Fosse as an artist? Like, what was the first thing you encountered, and what was the first time where you like, oh, I know who Bob Fosse is, and I know what I'm seeing now. First, because sometimes you encounter somebody and you don't know who they are. The first, like when I saw Cabaret, I didn't really know who
Mhm.
Bob Fosse was, but I loved Cabaret.
I grew up with a dad that really liked musicals, so he made sure that whenever there was like a very easily identifiable style of dance, that I knew that that was Bob Fosse. So the two films that I saw as a very young girl wherein he was represented were Damn Yankees and Pajama Game. So in Pajama Game, they have the Steam Heat number, and then Damn Yankees, he choreographed all of it. And so, there's that scene of Who's Got the Pain where Gwen Verdon is dancing with Bob Fosse. So my dad made sure that I knew like the style of Steam Heat was Fosse, and that that was who he actually was. So I had that association. Also, growing up in the 80s and 90s, like in the early 90s, there was definitely like a Fosse revival moment. They were doing that show Fosse on Broadway, and maybe I'm not sure about the actual year, but they had that review, and then and then Chicago came around. Yeah, so Fosse was 99, and then the production of Chicago that's still running, which was choreographed by Anne Reinking, started in, oh my gosh, 1996. So you have like two sort of major Broadway, and I grew up in New York, so what was going on Broadway was pretty much like what was going on for me, like in cultural terms. I would watch TV too, but like it was like growing up in Hollywood where people are talking about, pilot season and what movies are out. It was really more about what's on Broadway. So so there was definitely like a big Fosse, I don't want to say revival as much as like movement toward appreciation in the mid to late 90s.
Mhm.
And that was very loud. So that was very much him being like the iconography of like the hats and the gloves and everything, and it was kind of modernized, so it was like those sheer black leotards over the more kind of matte tones that you see in all that jazz or like, you know, recordings of Pippin and things like that. Have you seen all of his other movies?
Oh, I haven't. I no, I have to see Sweet Charity.
Sweet Charity's bananas. Like that's a
Yeah.
gummy. It's so long. It's so long, but so it's really more tempting to go to YouTube and watch like the musical numbers. Like I'm sure you've seen Rich Man's Frug on like YouTube and you know, I'm a Brass Band and then of course Big Spender, but like it's eye-popping and it's very psychedelic. It's very much like, because it was his first film, I believe, so he was very much putting, it's like when you're not sure you're never gonna get another shot to make a movie, like he put in everything. He put in like the kitchen sink, but it's like psychedelic, it's groovy. Sammy Davis Jr.'s in it. Shirley MacLaine is basically playing Gwen Verdon, but I think she's terrific. You know, Cheetah Rivera. So it's definitely worth seeing. I'm trying to think of like my other favorites. I mean, Cabaret is obviously like a masterpiece. I think like the only award it didn't win Oscar-wise that year was, I think Best Picture went to Godfather, but it won all the other ones.
Yeah. And deservedly, man. I've watched that movie so many times.
Yeah, that movie's really important.
I think he got Best Director for that.
Yeah, and he deserved it. And that was also the year he won for Pippin and on Broadway, and he was king shit in 72.
Yeah.
Liza with a Z, I think he may have gotten the Emmy. I think that was like his just like EGOT down the if I'm not mistaken, I think it was a big year for Bobby.
I just picked I found Liza with a Z is on YouTube, thankfully, because I don't know where else.
Liza with a Z is outstanding. That is a television special that is so well shot, so well edited. It's also like Fosse to me is an example of why all choreographers who are that good should get a chance to direct their own work, because you know, Adam Shankman, who directed the Hairspray movie, is also a choreographer. And when you can control the camera and the edits as well as what people are actually doing when they're moving, you can create such a sense of, you know, cohesiveness. And there's not a lot of great film musicals. I think like Sondheim was the loudest voice in that debate. Like, and I think it's because, you know, you need to have an auteur at the helm who understands like how these actors relate to music and to interpret that movement behind the camera. And I always say that one of the biggest, I mean, there's so many tragedies about how AIDS affected musical theater and just completely destroyed a generation of the best and the brightest. But my heart breaks when I think about the director Michael Bennett could have become, because he had directed A Chorus Line and choreographed it. And if he had had a chance to make a movie, my heart breaks when I think of how brilliant he could have been.
Yeah. I mean, when people don't really talk enough about what was lost because of AIDS and everything. I don't want to say that the arts haven't recovered, but like there is this, you know, kind of huge lacuna that just
they haven't recovered. They haven't. Like and then the 80s and 90s, you look at the 90s musicals and you're just like, whew, okay. Where I guess you're starting from scratch. So it's devastating. And it all tracks back to like, you know, whenever you're like, why is all this? It's because of that. Yeah. But what is other films? Lenny is great. There's only like 5.
I was gonna say he didn't direct a whole lot of films.
So what was Gwen Verdon's role in those films?
Everything. Like, she was
everything?
his right hand. Yeah, I mean, Fosse Verdon's pretty good. Like it definitely tells you about their relationship. She was the woman behind the man, right? Like she was the person who knew his choreography, helped develop it with him, and was his, you know, she was his right hand. And whether or not they were married or together or not, like didn't matter. They were partners. So she would both execute and collaborate on his vision.
I just want to jump back for 1 second about being able to actually direct when
Yes.
you are a choreographer. And
Yes.
I think one thing I love about the way he directs is
Mhm.
the camera is often close in on the dancers in
Yeah.
a way that he's like the anti-Busby Berkeley.
Mhm.
And
He'll do both. Like
Yeah.
what he chooses to show, like his details, because he's got a lot of, obviously like these little details, like a flick of the hand. Like he
Mhm.
likes to go in for that and then show you the stage picture, like he does in the cattle call at the beginning. But when Anne Reinking is like coming towards the camera and you've got to change your evil ways, and he goes in really close on her, giving that nod and those giant eyes. You know that he's focused on like where he's controlling your gaze as to where the power is of that moment. And then when she does like the very quick step, I forget what it's called, but like that's, we're gonna go full body on this. Like you'd be a fool not to show Anne Reinking from head to toe. Jagger and Gideon also, most of that is like wide, I think. And Anne Reinking has the opportunity to show in this film, so much of what a director's talent is not exactly like observable. You just sort of have to assume he's making the right decision. But Reinking gets to show off her like exquisite ability as a dancer, and it's breathtaking. She's at her absolute most powerful in this film. Like that Gideon and Jagger, to me, when she's dancing with that little girl and you see the hyper flexibility in her lower back and just everything executed with like absolute razor sharp precision, despite its like fluidity, or combined with its fluidity. Her as like this contradiction, this like sweet salty confection, and like she is absolutely magnificent. And then watching him break her heart at the same time, I'm not going to say it's truthful, but it's just sort of an insight into like how spectacular she is, and how you kind of wish that she was the star of the show, I guess.
Yeah, it's wild thinking about how, like, what it must have been like to essentially be playing yourself.
It's Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah,
Well-
totally. Yeah, for sure. Only there's no way Fosse would ever be in a band.
Right. No. But no, I mean, like, I just kept thinking, how strange, and honestly, then also just kind of like how committed you must be to this person as an artist to say, yeah, you know what, I am going to play myself in this.
I know, isn't that messed up?
Yeah.
It's totally messed up. But like, you're in love with someone and they treat you terribly, but you love their art and you want to be a part of their art. And I'm not gonna say it's like I can't speak for someone else and say it's a compromise, but it's really hard and it really sucks and it's really shitty as a woman to see the status be so consistent, and also just people that like to subvert things, but oddly enough not gender norms, and it doesn't suit them.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
just he didn't like that she was seeing other guys. There's that conversation where he's like, who are you going out with? Like, oh dude, you've got to be kidding me. What are we in, like 79 here? Like, come on, what are you in the manosphere where it's like one-way monogamy? I saw the New York Times had something this morning that the headline was like, is one-way monogamy just cheating? I'm like, you're on it, New York Times. Keep following that sense. Get it one day.
They figured it out. For one thing, it's just like you have so much knowledge of all this stuff. It's just great to hear.
Oh.
Yeah, seriously, we are.
Oh, well, you guys do this every week where you have to dive into a new film and just become an expert. I'm an expert on like 6 things. So I'm impressed by the breadth, and the depth.
Well, thank you.
Whatever rhymes with those 2 things. Also, I'm impressed by.
I doubt we can become an expert at any point, but
we're really good at faking it.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters.
It is all faking it is, don't you dare disparage faking it.
All right. Well, once again, thank you, Julie Klausner, podcaster, writer, comedian, actress, and all around, I don't know, queen of podcasts at this point.
Thank you so much. That's so kind. People can find me at howwasyourweek.com and Double Thread, and thank you guys so much for having me, and shout out to Bob Sellers, who does the best artwork in the world for both of our shows. So We love you, Bob, and thanks again so much for having me.
Also, I just heard you on People Are the Enemy with Rachel.
Amazing.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I love
And-
that. Rachel she also
Yeah.
does those. Those are
Yeah.
And
those are
that
so cool.
and that Free to Be You and Me episode is just episodes is just so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
So that was All That Jazz, starring Roy Scheider, Jessica Lange, Leland Palmer, Anne Reinking, Cliff Gorman, John Lithgow, actually as a kind of a, what would you say that, a stand-in for Hal Prince.
Oh, is that who that was?
Yes.
I didn't. I don't know who that is.
Oh, well, okay. So Hal Prince was like a big deal Broadway director around. He was a contemporary of Fosse, and
Fosse's throwing a little dagger.
Yeah, he is throwing a little dagger. Hal Prince has a theater named after him.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this is just one of those movies where it's like, oh, hey, there's that person, you know.
Yeah.
I remember, like, there, you know, there's like a woman who's a nurse in there. I'm like, oh, I've seen her in things, and she worked with Fosse and stuff. And one of those, hey, it's that guy, is Wallace Shawn.
Yeah.
Which is pretty great. Showing up as like an insurance agent.
Also, his daughter, Nicole Fosse.
Yes.
She's a dancer that I think he tells her to get out of the way, or someone tells her to get out of the way.
Yeah, right. She's doing like moves against a vending machine or something while they're trying to figure out a like some choreography or something. And so like, get out of here. So yeah, that is his daughter, his actual daughter. Yeah. And Erzsébet Faldi as Joe's daughter, and I think this is the only thing she ever did.
Oh.
She's great in it.
She is.
I really like her in this.
Yeah.
So
I like that little dance that she and Kate do. I mean,
well, Anne Reinking, but
yeah.
Written by Robert Allen Aurthur and Bob Fosse, and of course directed by Bob Fosse. Once again, thank you to Julie Klausner for coming on the show. That was great.
She was great.
That was so nice that, you know, we kind of did it a little bit last minute, and it was very kind of her to step in and record with us. So once again, thank you so much, Julie. That was fantastic. All right. Obviously, you can follow us on social media. We are Mary vs. Movies on all your major platforms. We are on Instagram and TikTok and Blue Sky. And is Mastodon a major platform? No.
I can't believe you keep bringing that up.
I know, one person on Mastodon. Tumblr. We're on Tumblr. We have a Facebook page. You know, we have a website, of course, run by the great webmistress Alana. MaryVSMovies.com. And so go there to find all that information. We, of course, are also available on all of your major platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, where you can rate and review the show. We are on Spotify. We are on YouTube. We are pretty much anywhere except maybe Amazon Music, because I haven't been able to figure that one out. But otherwise, yes, you can always get our RSS feed and plug it into whatever your podcatcher of choice is and listen that way. Because we are an independent show. We are not on a network. We are not part of any thing. We are just, two people making this show on our own, and for that reason, this show costs money. We did an interview using Zoom. That costs money. We have to pay that every month. We have the server costs. We have the website cost. So, if you want to help support the show, because, we don't have ads, this is purely a labor of love. If you want to help support us, we, of course, do have a Patreon where you can do that. And for $3 a month, you can help, defray some of the costs of doing this show. But then you would also get access to our other show, Hollywood Avalon, where about once a month or so, we put out a show that deals with Arthurian stuff. Mostly movies and TV shows, occasionally weird prog albums. But yeah, we do Hollywood Avalon, and we watch things like Bugs Bunny cartoons and episodes of MacGyver and the movie Excalibur. We just watched Apocalypse Now, and by the time you hear this, that episode will already be out. And we talk about Apocalypse Now and how it is a Grail movie. We watch The Fisher King. We watch Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So yes, if you're into that, if you want to hear us talk about Arthurian stuff, please subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/MaryVSMovies. Do not use the Apple app, because they take a 30% cut. It's ridiculous. So go on
Thanks,
to it.
Tim Apple.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, go onto a web browser if you still have a computer. I know the kids don't use computers, or they just use tablets now.
I think they use laptops.
No, they
From what
use.
I heard.
Really? Because what I heard is it's just phones and tablets.
Nope.
I don't have children. I don't know what they do. They're they're a different species. It's fine. Whatever.
I read an article in a newspaper that said that they're using laptops.
An article in the newspaper.
Yes.
Was it on paper?
Of course it was. It's a newspaper. Why wouldn't it be on paper?
Actually, that reminds me. I think I left the newspaper out on the lawn.
Oh no.
This morning. We're old.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's about it. Then I guess let me think. I guess I'm hoping that our next movie.
Yep.
Our next movie is hopefully Local Hero.
I will never remember that name.
No, what were you calling it earlier?
I was calling it Walk Short.
How in the world did you go from Local Hero to Walk Short?
I don't know. I knew it wasn't Walking Tall, and so I just went the other way.
Oh my God. No. Yeah. We're hopefully going to watch Local Hero, which is a British.
Is it Scottish?
Yeah. Well, it's
Okay.
set in Scotland.
Yeah.
Britain refers to the entire island. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that will be our next episode.
Okay.
All right. Well, in that case, until next time.
Do you suppose Stanley Kubrick ever gets depressed?